Hello, everyone, and welcome to this third and final workshop all about the USIS ePortfolio. Today, we are going to be doing a deep dive all into how to customize your ePortfolio. So if you don't know, there are two other ePortfolio workshops available for you to watch. The first ePortfolio workshop is all about what the ePortfolio is, what digication is, and some of the requirements for the ePortfolio. The second ePortfolio workshop is about how to narrativize your experiences for your USIS certificate. Oh, man. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this third and final ePortfolio workshop all about how to customize your ePortfolio. So today we are going to be doing a deep dive into how to personalize your ePortfolio, how to fuss about in Digication and get the best looking ePortfolio you can using all of the options that Digication has to offer. So if you don't know, there are actually two other ePortfolio workshops available for you to watch. The first workshop is all about what the ePortfolio actually is, what the requirements are, and a bigger overview of Digication, which is the platform we use to create our ePortfolios. The second ePortfolio workshop is all about how to narrativize your experience. So that workshop is really focused on the content of your ePortfolio, what you are putting in the portfolio and why you're putting it there. And so I outline a couple of different strategies of how to talk about your time at Pitt, talk about your experience in your unique certificate, and why we're asking you to talk about your experiences in a particular way. And then again, this time we're talking about customizing your ePortfolio. And so now that you have all the content you want and you know how you want to tell your story, now let's get the ePortfolio to look the way you want. So in this workshop, we will once again review the basic requirements for the USIS ePortfolio and experiment with how to revise the USIS template. So like I talked about in a couple of the other workshops, there are templates there for you to work with and customize. And so we will think about different ways that you can do that using some of the available templates. And finally, we will learn various customization tools on Digication to help personalize your ePortfolio. So I just started using Digication and just started experimenting with the platform in the beginning of this semester. And so I've been working with it for 4-ish months now, and it wasn't the most intuitive thing at first. And I think the best way to approach customization, particularly aesthetically and design wise, in this platform, is to just experiment, um, because there are so many customization tools. And we're only going to talk about a couple of them today, because to talk about every single piece of customization that you can actually do on Digication would be 3 workshops alone. And so we'll kind of do an overview, get into the nitty-gritty of a couple of them. But really, the best way to approach customization in this platform is to experiment. And that's how I learned how to do a lot of these things that I didn't even know were possible. I only learned through experimenting. And my final ePortfolio now looks, I think, really exciting and really individual and feels very much like me because I was experimenting a lot with all the customization that was available in Digication. So before we get into any of that, let's once again remind ourselves of what the ePortfolio is and why we're doing it. So the ePortfolio is required for all students pursuing an area or global certificate in USIS. And it should reflect on the coursework, experiences, and projects you've undergone at Pitt that are most relevant to your certificate. And again, the other workshops are going to do more deep dives into this particular piece of information here. What exactly we want to see in your ePortfolio, what kind of content we want to include. And so the basics of like what we're looking for and like why we're doing this is that the ePortfolio more or less demonstrates what your particular experiences are in the certificate and what you have learned in the certificate. Of course, not everyone in the Asian Studies certificate or Global Studies certificate or African Studies certificate are there for the same reason. Everyone wants to get something a little bit different. Everyone's interests are a little bit different. And so we want to know what makes your experience unique to you. Why did you pursue the certificate? How did you learn through the certificate? And what are some of the things that you're going to take with you after you leave Pitt? So the ePortfolio is going to be completed on Digication, an integrated teaching, learning, and assessment software created for students to showcase their learning. It must be completed and submitted prior to graduation, or to the certificate of graduation, I should say. Please check with your advisors for the specific due date, because I think it's different depending on your certificate and who your advisor is. So just check in with them and they can tell you when exactly it's due. And it must address certain core issues related to learning outcomes. So this big chart here are all the learning outcomes that your advisor will evaluate when taking a look at your ePortfolio. I'm not going to get into a lot of these right now because I do that in the very first ePortfolio. So if you want to learn more about these particular learning rubrics, do take a look at that one, at that particular workshop, because it'll tell you a little bit more in detail. But just to quickly reiterate, we are looking for you to talk about your global and or regional expertise. We want to make sure that you've made some interdisciplinary connections throughout your studies, because likely you have taken studies or you have taken classes that contribute to your certificate through a number of different disciplines and a number of different departments, and have probably started making connections between those different disciplines. And so we want to see that that's happening and learn more about that experience. If you do have a language attached to your certificate, we want to learn more about your language experiences. Collaboration and communication. How have you worked with others in the community? How have you worked with your peers, specifically with projects related to your USIS certificate? Career readiness. So how are you going to use a lot of what you've learned to catapult yourself into a particular industry or into a particular career? We want to know more about the diverse perspectives you learned about or have gained through this experience and through your classes and study abroad and, all of that. And then finally, civic and global engagement. So how have you contributed to your community or to your peers or to Pitt in general, in regards to the certificate you've pursued. So again, this is all here for you to peruse, different levels of like what we're looking for, what's successful, what isn't successful. And again, I urge you to go to that first ePortfolio workshop to get a little bit more into the nitty-gritty of each individual thing we're looking at. But it's important to reiterate here, because as you're working through the templates that your advisor has created for you, and as you are customizing your ePortfolio, you want to make sure that you have a lot of these in the back of your head to make sure that you are accomplishing a lot of these goals. So like I've mentioned in other ePortfolios, there are portfolio templates for every center in USIS. So regardless of what certificate you have, there is a template that your advisor has created for you to work with to begin your ePortfolio. So these templates are there to guide your writing and not dictate your writing. So you want to use the questions in the template to help build a cohesive narrative of your certificate experiences and what you've learned. So the templates are going to have particular pages attached to them. So In a lot of the certificate templates, there are pages for your research or to talk about your research. There are pages to talk about your study abroad experiences. There's a page for you to talk about your coursework, or talk about languages and et cetera, et cetera. Now, these are there for you to brainstorm, to sort of kickstart your thinking, to better help you meet these requirements and make sure that you're talking about things that are really relevant to the certificate. But the best way to use these templates is to answer the questions that the template outlines for you, and then build a more unified story through editing and revising. So this will help make your ePortfolio more unique and individual, and also make it more readable to a broader audience, so that your ePortfolio doesn't look like it's an assignment you've done for a class, but that it's something that you can use on the job market or use in graduate school applications. Because as we know, those the documents that you need to provide for those two instances alone are can be really limiting. You know, you can't really express yourself fully in a resume. A statement of purpose, you really need to be focused on what the requirements for that particular university are and what they want you to say in that statement of purpose. And so something like an e-portfolio can help you really express yourself and be a good supplement to some of these more regimented and standardized documents. And so this is one way of customizing your ePortfolio. Perhaps the most important thing to think about when customizing your ePortfolio: customize the content, make it really individual, make it really unique to you. And again, this is something I talk a lot about in the second ePortfolio workshop. So if you want more insight on how to do this work, or what what to do when you want to start thinking about this work, I really urge you to go to that presentation in particular. But even though today we're going to be talking about how to customize like the design and the aesthetics of the ePortfolio, one really important aspect of customization is customizing the templates themselves to make the content your own, and to make the experiences really individual to you, and to really put forth why you wanted to pursue the certificate. What study abroad experiences did you find most helpful? What projects are you most proud of? And that is one of the most important things you can do in terms of customization. Now, Digication gives users a lot of control over the aesthetics and design of their ePortfolio, and that includes working with the templates that your advisors have given you. You'll notice that the templates have their own kind of design aesthetic. They come with some of their own backgrounds. They're usually like buildings or places at Pitt that you will find familiar. But this is, again, a way for the template to show you what's possible, right? That this is only one option, and a sea of many, many options on Digication to let this template be your own. So again, use the template as a guidepost, but not necessarily something to like dictate the aesthetics or the content of your ePortfolio. Now, because Digication gives you so much control, you could customize everything to the margin when it comes to your ePortfolio. And I actually really urge you, when you sign on to Digication, you'll notice that you have access to the portfolios that have been made public on Digication. And I have found it extremely helpful and extremely useful to just poke around on Digication, see what portfolios are available to you, and you can get ideas as to not only what content to put in your ePortfolio if you're feeling a little stuck, or how to sort of individualize it and make it your own, but you can also get ideas into how to design your ePortfolio. No two portfolios look the same, and that's the thing that's really exciting about Digication, is that though it's the same platform, everyone has the opportunity to make it really personalized and really individual. And that, for me, this is something that makes doing this project really exciting, because you can really make it your own, and it becomes a personal, reflective project and not just something that I need to do as a requirement. That this personalization quality allows you to be a little bit more engaged in the work of it. So you can customize what content you include, like we were talking about in the last slide, but you can also customize how you would organize your information, what your portfolio looks like overall, what the design of it is, what your backgrounds are, um, and really make it something to your personal preference. Like I mentioned earlier in today's workshop, Digication isn't always the most intuitive platform, but give yourself time to experiment with all the possibilities. I think that this is the best way to learn the platform is to give yourself, an hour. A week or so, or before you really start diving into the content of it, just play around on Digication a little bit. I've learned so much from just experimenting with what's there because again, you could customize things to the margin on Digication, which is really exciting, but can be overwhelming. And so we're going to get into some of those things today. But again, there's just so much there. You could have many, many workshops just on the various customization properties that are available to you on Digication. But do experiment because it will let you get more familiar with the platform, but then also give you some ideas as to how to customize it too. And so finally, why customize your ePortfolio? First, it allows you to better reflect on the certificate and your time at USIS and PIT more broadly. Like I was saying, we don't get a lot of opportunities in our life to formally reflect on something as huge as graduating from college. And so this is a really great time for you to reflect and think about all of the things that you've done at Pitt, all of the things that you've done at USIS, and reflect on how that's going to come up in your future and how you're going to use it to get the future that you most want. And so it's a great reflective activity, and customizing it can really allow you to express like what this time has meant to you and like what's important to you and what you're going to take from it. Just customizing your ePortfolio, I think, makes it a more engaging experience. It demonstrates how your experience, work, and perspective is pertinent to your personal interests and goals. Like I was saying earlier, no two people in the same certificate are there for the same reasons or have learned the exact same things or are going to take the exact same things with them into their future. And so demonstrating how this is really individual to you and why you wanted to pursue this certificate and what work you did within the certificate is a pleasure for us too when we're reading them. We want to know about all the diverse experiences and knowledges that people have gained through their time at Pitt. And so this is a really great opportunity to do that, to really reflect on your unique experience here and why you personally wanted to pursue the certificate and what work you're really proud of and what work you want to continue doing in the future. And then finally, a distinctive ePortfolio is more appropriate to use for graduate school applications and job applications. Like I was saying earlier, the more customized this is, the less it will look like something you did for an assignment. And that means that you can use this as a really, really great supplemental piece of work when it comes to job applications and graduate school applications. Because when you graduate from Pitt, you will still have access to your ePortfolio. You'll notice when you sign into Digication, there's a section for current students to sign in, but there's also a section if you are an alum to sign in as well. So you will have access to your ePortfolio after, which is so exciting. It means that you can continue to use it well after you are done with your time in USIS and done with your time at Pitt. And so using this as a supplemental document to really get um, committees to know like who you are and what you're about and what you're interested in is such a useful thing and it's such a useful tool and will set you apart from other applicants in really competitive markets. Okay, so now let's deep dive into Digication, which I've incorrectly spelled here, but it's Digication, to see all of the customization properties. And like I said, this will be a fairly um, fluid, intuitive way of like working with it, because I think the best way to get to know the customization potential in Digication is to just sort of play around. And so that's what I plan on doing. So if you haven't yet been to Digication, when you get to Digication, it will look something like this. You will probably have your ePortfolio assigned to you. So it'll probably be something here, like under my assignments and activities. And then you will see my works, which is where you will create your ePortfolio. So this is my current finished ePortfolio, which I will show you at the end if you haven't yet seen it. But to start, let's click on this plus sign to create a new ePortfolio. So the very first thing that you can do customization wise with your ePortfolio is choose a thumbnail. So choose a picture of yourself that you'd want to use, and then also choose a template. Now, likely you will not have all of these templates assigned to you. You will probably just have the template that your advisor made for your particular certificate, but I happen to have all of them. But so you probably won't need to choose from too much, which is very good and not very overwhelming. Your title should be your name. That is the most straightforward thing to do here. And then I encourage you to choose a thumbnail. So there are many ways to do that. You could record a video for this. You can record some audio for this. You could take a picture. If you love the way you look right now, you can get that camera out on your computer and take a picture right now. Likely you will upload a particular file. That is most likely what you're going to do here. I already have a picture of myself on my previous upload, so I'm going to choose this picture here. This is a picture of me in Ireland when I was studying abroad so many years ago. And so I think that that's a great picture. It shows me in a place that I really love. And in my ePortfolio, I'll likely be talking about Ireland and talking about my particular experiences in this country and the work I've done regarding this country. And so I think it's a really great, fun thumbnail for me. Now, this I think is a really great representation of who I am and what I'm interested in. But of course, you can use a very professional headshot. You can use just a really good selfie that you've taken, just something that is appropriate and something that you think demonstrates who you are, either as a professional or your time at USIS in some way. And so for my template, I am going to go with the Central European Studies template. That is the template I want to work with today. So after you choose a template, you will click on Create. And so just there, we've already had a couple of customization opportunities from the get-go. You have that with Digication. So it will take a minute here. And now here we are in the platform. So if you've already played around in the platform, you will know this a little bit. But if you don't, your instructions for each section will remain visible at the top while you are editing. So it's just this bottom half that will be viewable once you have published your ePortfolio. People will not be seeing this part here, but you will, just so you have an idea of what you should be doing in each section. So as you can see, just to get used to the template, the Central European Study Certificate has a couple of different pages for you to think about and work through. There is a resume page, and we have a couple of ideas of like what the resume will look like. We have a coursework page, a language page, a study abroad page with some questions that you can answer, a page for research projects that kind of give you some ideas of what you can write about, papers, presentations, and publications, and then finally contact information that you might want people to have if they view your ePortfolio. This is again particularly useful if you're planning on using this ePortfolio for other opportunities. Now, this right here immediately is customizable. You can add to these pages, meaning you can like give them sub pages, pages within pages, or you can delete pages if they're not relevant to you. So I would like to start here because I think that the header, I'm going to move myself over here so we have a better view. The header can be a little weird because it has its own section section to customize. So first thing, when you want to customize anything in the header, you want to click on this little lockbox. It will unlock the header, and so now you are able to do that. You won't be able to edit anything in the header until you unlock that particular section. So when you're there, you can click on the settings here, and this will give you an opportunity to really play with the header. So as you can see, there are different section names that you can give for every page. Every page has its own customization style, so you can change the background of these. So say if I want to make this red, I can make it red. You can select the color opacity too, so how kind of bright you want that color, how clear you want that color. It'll probably end up matching with another background that you have. You could select an image, so you can have an image as your background here too. So I'll just do this pit. Of course, you probably have to resize it, but you can make an image your background. It doesn't necessarily need to be a color. And as you can see, there are many, many ways for you to customize just the look of it. You can also change, I believe, the font on here as well, if you play around with it. So if I click up there and do this, click on the little wheel, it will open the font family, and then I can choose a font that I find better for me. So I like this font, we're going to click on that. And of course, we can change the color of the font. I can make it a lighter blue, I can make it black. And again, this is really aesthetic to your personal preferences. There's some advanced customization too. You could add a quote bar, you can put in a link, you can do all of those things. You could do padding, so you could like change the margins of what you're doing here as well. So if you want to align it in the center, you can do that. Or if you like the way it looks when it's all the way to the right, you can do that. And again, like these seem like small changes, and they are, but these changes will not only personalize it, but they'll build on each other. That you're going to make changes that are probably really consistent with like what you want your portfolio to look like. And so doing these sorts of things and experimenting with these sorts of things can give you the look that you're after. And so then what you can also do, just to move myself to another side, is edit this particular section of the header. So this is something that I know that I did a lot in personalizing my personal header, is I changed a lot of these pages to better reflect my personal experiences and better reflect what I wanted to emphasize. So if you want to do that, you will click on the little pen there. And then here you have all of these different page settings. So you can change what the title of these are. You can add additional pages, or you can take away pages. So for example, say that I did not study a language during my certificate time. You will click on the trash can and it will delete the languages page. So you won't even really need to worry about that. Say that I want to smush the research projects and the papers, presentations, and publications pages. Say that I think that those pages should be together. I think that they're really relevant. I can move that to be a sub page of my research projects page. So as you can see, if I move it a little bit to the left, now it's its own page. But if I move it a little bit to the right, it is now a sub-page under research projects, so that when I hover over research projects, it'll give me an option to go to a separate page that's called papers, presentations, and publications. You can change again the names of any of this. So you could do contact me instead of contact. Or contact information instead of just contact. You can really make it your own. Instead of study abroad, you could be more specific. You can say, um, Dublin study abroad, or my time in Dublin, or something along those lines. Again, these are small but impactful ways to change it. So say that I like the way that that looks. We will click on save. This is something that will come up a lot in Digication. Digication is great in that it doesn't want you to like accidentally delete things that you might want. And so it wants you to always confirm things that you're getting rid of in your ePortfolio. So I will write delete and I'll delete it. And as you can see, my changes have been saved. And now when I look at my header, I have my Dublin Study Abroad section. Under research projects, it opens a separate page. So if I click on research projects, it'll bring me to the research project page, but then it will also bring me to the papers, presentations, and publications page, because I think that those things are relevant and I want to kind of put them together because I feel like that's really important to the work that I'm doing. And so automatically now this is a little bit more individualized. It's a little more personal. You know a little bit more about me and the things that I find really compelling and the things that I want to emphasize. So the header and changing the names of some of these pages, adding pages, deleting pages is, I think, a great place to start with a lot of this work, and ways that you can change the template that's already given to you here. So let's move to another page and let's talk about how to change some of the backgrounds. So you can have unique backgrounds for every single page in your ePortfolio, meaning that the background that you have on your About Me page can be different than the one that you have on your resume page. As you can see, they're different here, but you can also make it so that it's a uniform background, that the background is the same for every page. And so if I wanted to add a background or change anything in terms of what that looks like, this big plus button is going to be a great place to start. So when you click on this will bring you to the variety of different kinds of content that you can upload on Digication. And so we have so many things that we can add here. We can add just a whole section that we want to use to include. So here right now we have no content in this section, but as you can see, it's made separate from the content in this section. So if there's something that you want to differentiate, a piece of information you want to differentiate that's under the same umbrella of About Me or coursework, this is a really great option. You have a rich text section, which will just open a little text box like this. And you can say, I think, and something along those lines. You can also, of course, resize it. You can move it. If you click on these arrows here, you can move anything all around. So if you want the honors and awards to be on the right side of the page, you can move that. And again, just organize this as you'd like. If you want to get rid of this section, you can just click on the trash can and delete it. Like this is a template, but it's really customizable. You can just get rid of things that you don't want. You can add this text box instead if you'd like, and move it up here because you like the way that looks better. And again, you can resize it and whatnot. Let's take a look at some of the other things you can include. You can include a table if you want to insert particular data or particular projects or anything that might be really relevant when using a table. You can upload a file in general. So this is useful if you want to upload a resume or like a paper that you've written and you have the document for it. It's really any file you can upload here. You can take a picture, you can record a video. So these are live things you can do. Actually, in my ePortfolio, which we'll see at the end, I actually just recorded a video in the contact me page that was, reiterating thank you for looking over my ePortfolio. I would love to talk to you more about my experiences. Contact me for any additional information. This is really useful if you're using the ePortfolio for job applications or grad school applications. Again, it like puts a little more personality into it, and it's nice to like see the person and interact with the person. You can record audio. So something that you can do, for example, is talk about a particular picture. So say that the picture I chose for my thumbnail, say that I put that in a gallery under my study abroad page. I could record an audio talking about that particular picture or talking about that particular experience. I can say that I was hiking and, this is where I was and this is what I learned about. And so if you want to narrativize out loud a particular experience, instead of writing a caption or writing something, you can record audio instead, which I think is a really great way of customizing it, literally putting your voice into the piece. As PIT students, we all have access to Box. So if you have uploaded group projects on Box, or have like a research paper there or something that you want to use, you can take it from Box and upload it directly into your ePortfolio. If there's a particular image you like, you can search for an image. So if you don't really know what you want your background to be, you could kind of just Google nature. Look at that. All of these beautiful pictures you could potentially use for your background. If you want to do Paris, you can type in Paris and maybe you study abroad there. You could include one of these pictures instead of looking for one on your own or choosing one of your own. You can embed like YouTube videos here. So for example, I have taught a lot of classes at Pitt, and I taught over the period where we were attending class online. And so I actually have a lot of recordings of me teaching. And so I could um, just put in a YouTube link and embed my video here. So if you have a presentation, if you went to a conference, or if there is content that you're proud of that you've put on another website, maybe you wrote an article or something, you can embed the content here too, which I think is a really great thing to do. If equation is relevant to you, you can do that. I don't think I would ever use this, but again, if this is really relevant, by all means, add an equation to your About Me page. And then something on Google Docs. So if you don't have a particular document available, but your paper that you want to upload or showcase is available on Google Docs, you can directly link it here. And so again, this is just another way for you to customize your experience. That the template here, though it has a section for languages and skills and honors and awards. And here's a section where you can upload a resume. You don't need to use any of this. Instead, you could get rid of all of this, reformat it. You can put in an audio clip or a video clip of yourself talking about these experiences instead, if that feels more appropriate for you. If you want to change anything in the way that it like looks here, what you're going to do is click on this gear on the right hand side, and then very similar to the header options, you are going to see a number of customization options. So if we want to change this image that is the background, we can select the image. I'm going to go to previous uploads again. Say that I want to use this picture of London. Wonderful. Now I have this picture of London and the Thames and the whole city at night as my background, because I think that that's going to be really eye-catching. This might be really good in a section about research if I did a lot of research on this city, or study abroad in the city or visited it during my time at Pitt. And again, there are so many different ways that you can change this. and so many different ways that you can customize it. Instead of going through it individually, I just urge you to kind of mess around. You can also change individual sections. So as you see, as I hover over each individual section on this page, you can not only edit it and change sort of what you're writing in it, but you can also change the colors and the fonts and all of that. So say I want this font to look like that. Now I have that font. You could reformat it to be centered. You can even include your own image. So if you want an image behind this, you could I mean, this isn't a good image behind this, but as an example, you could include that image and sort of change everything here to better that so that you can better see it. So I probably want to bold it. I probably want to like change the color of it a little bit. Um, Maybe I want it to do like blue instead. As you can see, I've highlighted it for some reason. There are many different things that you can do with that. And you can also change like the opacity of it. So if I wanted to change the opacity of the background color, I can do that. If I remove this image, I don't have any opacity with this section. So as you can see, the words just sort of float over everything. But if I increase the opacity of the background color, which here is white, it will get a little more opaque, and you will see less of that background. So you could have the anything that you write sort of blend into the background, or you can have it look more like something that I'm clicking on over here, where it's a little bit more opaque and there's a difference between them. And again, these feel like really small changes, but they change the whole kind of vibe of your ePortfolio. And if you really want to emphasize like this city and this background, and you want to talk about your experiences there, perhaps making these text boxes less opaque gives it a sense that you're really there and that you're really talking about it and that you're really emphasizing something about this place. And so it's a really great way to customize it and to make it your own. Let's see. So we've talked about the various kinds of content. You can also add photo galleries, which I really like. So let's say I want to go to study abroad Dublin and I want to add some images. I will choose some images of myself abroad. So I'll choose this and this. And as you can see, I'm choosing multiple images at once. And I'm going to add them all to a gallery. So when you're uploading several photos at once, it's going to create a gallery. And so this is really good if there's a lot of pictures of you studying abroad, for example. So when you add photos to a gallery, as you can see, now there is this little arrow for me to sort of swipe. So you can upload these individually if you want to have individual pictures, or if there's a lot of pictures you want to share, you can create an entire gallery. And this goes for projects too. So say if under research projects, you wanted to upload a number of different documents, you could also create a gallery of documents for people to go through. So if I go to some previous uploads, I think I have some papers. So I'll click on that paper, and I'll click on that paper, and I'll click on that paper. And if I add select files to gallery, now all of these 3 papers that I have, you could just swipe back and forth with. You can also change the layout of your gallery too. This is probably more appropriate in the photos. So let's get back to Dublin Study Abroad. So what I mean by that is when you choose this, you could reorder, but then you can also change the actual view of it. I'm trying to figure out how to do that. See, it's just you gotta experiment. Oh, right up here. So when you click on the gear, it'll go to layout. And as you can see, I can mess about with the layout. So if I want it to play automatically, it will happen that way. And you can see all the photos that are in the gallery and it highlights the one. You can have all of the photos that are in the gallery on the left-hand side. So if you want people to know it's a gallery, because it could be easy to miss, this is a good way of like highlighting that. So say I like that, we can do it that way. I like the gallery function a lot. I think it's really impressive and sort of mirrors the way that we like already use social media. Like if you're uploading several pictures to Instagram, you're usually swiping through them anyway. And so I think it's actually a pretty intuitive feature. But again, if I'm like doing my research projects and I want to upload several projects into one gallery, I can do that. Of course, you don't have to do that. You can upload projects separately. So if I want to just upload my CV, now I have two separate documents here. And many ways to sort of work through it. So there are also many ways that you can customize your documents as well in terms of like how they're displayed and what the background color is and like how you want people to engage with it. But likely you will be uploading some work that you've done over your time at USIS. And so I think the gallery function is a really good idea. I think just uploading an individual piece is a really good idea as well. And it could be really helpful. So hopefully that gives you a sense of like everything there is to like customize here. And like I said, I didn't even get to some of even the more nitty-gritty things. Like I think you can even, I'm going to see if this is possible. I think you can even change the hover color of some of these. So as you see, when I hover over these pages, they are highlighted blue, but say I don't want that and I want it to be yellow when it hovers because it matches the background that I have here, this pit picture I put in my header, then that's really great. If you want to change the font color, you can do say I want to do blue because again, it matches my background. The font active color, which I don't actually even know what that means. I think that means I don't actually know what that means, but you could experiment and see if you know what it means. There are different button colors. So if you want the buttons themselves to have a different color, you can change all of it. You could have a button hover color. So the button itself is going to change color. So now it's just entirely yellow. Like you can get into such nitty-gritty business with the customization properties. It's kind of wild. And so say that I'm super happy with this portfolio, say that I love it and I am ready to publish it. What you're going to do is click on, if I can find it, click on submissions, not submissions, click on share. You're going to click on share. And then you're going to go to the share settings. Make sure that you make this either public or private within the University of Pittsburgh University Center for International Studies. It's really up to you. If you want to use this for a future resume or cover letter or grad school like supplement, make it public because then other people will be able to see it. But if you only want people within USIS to see it, then click private within the University Center for International Studies. I'm super proud of this. I'm going to make it public. And then you can make an option to show it in the directory and user profile. So if you don't want other people to like see it immediately on their like front page, because you can usually see a lot of people's ePortfolios there, you can choose not to do that. I'm going to choose not to do that. And then we're going to click on save. So now my settings were saved. So now I can publish all of these pages. So when I click on publish pages, it will bring me to all of the pages that I have in my ePortfolio. And so I could decide what pages I actually want to publish. Likely you'll publish all of them, but if you want to publish them one at a time, that's okay too. But just make sure that everything you want to be in your ePortfolio is clicked on here, because you can also just publish one page or two pages, which means that the whole portfolio isn't accessible to someone. So if you want all of your pages published, make sure you have all of your pages clicked on. And if you click on publish, it means that it's now been published, and now you can see what your portfolio looks like as a published version. So if you click on share settings, you can say view published version. And now this is what the published version looks like. So as you can see, the text box telling me what to do is no longer there. Everything that I worked on is now viewable to a larger public. So you click on edit and do that again. So what I want to show you is what an actual customized portfolio looks like, one that, I actually worked on and sort of managed. So this is my personal ePortfolio, and let's look at the published version of it. And so as you can see, it looks really different from some of the templates, but I worked with the uses template. I think I worked with the Asian studies template for this one. And so I changed the background, I changed the picture, I made my about me really pared down, really individual. But as you can see, I've also changed some of the pages up here and really customized it for myself. So under coursework, I have coursework from both places I pursued master's degrees. So I got, or graduate degrees. I got my master's degree at King's College London, so I've made that its own page. And then I've also pursued graduate work at Pitt, where I'm completing my PhD. So I have a page specific to that. I have global connections instead of a study abroad page because I thought that'd be more appropriate. Because not only did I study abroad, I also did my master's degree abroad and lived abroad for a period of time, even separate from studying. And so global connections felt like a more appropriate way to talk about that. I have an entire page that's just sample work. And so here I've linked to an online journal that I worked on. So instead of just publishing the PDF of it, I'm actually bringing you to the website. I have a couple of pieces that I've worked on in my research. And then I also have here a link to a YouTube video of me moderating an event at USIS. Under teaching experience, I have a picture of me teaching. I have a sample syllabus that I wrote. I have, again, another link to a YouTube page. And then in contact, like I said, I recorded a video of myself saying thank you for visiting my ePortfolio. We'll take a look at it. For looking over and reviewing my ePortfolio. For any more information or to chat further about my experience or education, please feel free to contact me through my email or my LinkedIn. And so I have my LinkedIn page here, I have my email here, and then I recorded this just in the platform itself to give whoever is looking at this a better sense of who I am, and also just to personalize it a bit, right? Like, here's what I look like, here's my voice, here's my general vibe, here's my living room, with all of my books behind me. And so it's just a nice way to sort of customize it and personalize it a little bit. And as you can see, there are so many different ways for me to customize this, even after just playing around in Digication with all the various customization possibilities throughout this video. I'm like, I could change my hover color, and I could make this pink background a more vibrant image. I could put an image of early modern London there and make it even more personal and even more like me. And so I'm hoping that this will give you some inspiration for ways that you can customize your ePortfolio. Like I said, there are just so many options out there. There are so many ways to do it, and so many ways to make it your own. But hopefully, this can give you a little more of an insight into digitation and the various things that are possible through customization with digitation. And so, if there are any questions, please feel free to reach out to your USIS advisor. They absolutely will be able to help you. But like I said, experiment with some of these tools because it saves these things automatically and you don't have to publish any of these pages until you're really ready. This is an opportunity for you to experiment, to express yourself, to really see how you can make this the most individual project at all. So again, if you have any questions, let us know and have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys.